How's it going, everyone? How's it going, all my wealthy warriors? Today, I want to talk about everything happens for the right reason. You know, I've been saying that at the end of my podcast because I'm honestly a true believer of that. And there's a few short little stories I want to share about this, that the past few months have really started to align with that and align with me. One of the recent ones was, some of you know that, well, I guess no one really, a few people know how I upload my podcasts, and I'm using my phone at the moment. And I had an iPhone 11, and the app that I use is called LumaFusion, and that's how I add the music and kind of add the beginning intro, and I just started to figure out how to add an outro. So my phone would crash as just so much, it's processing so much stuff on the phone, so the memory, the hard drive wasn't strong enough. So I was going to go upgrade my phone because here in Canada we have something called Boxing Day, which usually runs from December 26th, and now most places it's like January 6th that Boxing Day is running. And it's kind of like Black Friday for all my people that live in the south of the Medicine Line, you know, the south of the Medicine Line, which we call America. Up here on the north side in Canada, we have something called Boxing Day. So I thought about it, and I was looking at some deals to upgrade my phone. And so I brought my phone in to get it appraised, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, we'll give you so much money for a trade-in towards a new phone. And I'm like, awesome, that's sweet. And I have a case on my phone. And one of the times that I actually took my phone out of my case to put in my stand and my ring light to record when I was dancing, a big gust of wind picked up the stand and it flew my phone, and the back of my screen cracked. And I have Apple Care. I just never got around to getting it fixed. And as I pulled the phone out, the lady was like, oh no, she's like, she basically slashed the phone 75% because of that crack in the back. So I had to go get it fixed, right? I had to go use my Apple Care to get the back of the screen fixed. And so I went into Apple. I didn't know that they have two different lines now to book to either to see a shopping specialist. I just saw a specialist, or see a tech, and a tech person will be able to fix your phone or whatever you have, any Apple product you have to bring in. And I didn't know that, so I just saw a specialist. And I was like, oh, okay, that's probably the person that fixes your phone. So I clicked on that, set up a time to go there. I was a little early, so I lined up, got there. As I got in, I was talking to the specialist about what was going on and what I needed. And he's like, oh, well, I'm just someone that can help you shop. So basically now, when you go into Apple, you get a shopping specialist. Someone, you know, you don't have to wait in line. Whatever you need, whatever the questions you have about whatever product you're trying to buy with Apple, there's a specialist there that can answer all your questions. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that, you know, and I'm trying to get my phone in. By the end of the deal, I guess the deal, they lied to me about the deal. And I thought the deal was ending the next day for the upgrading the phone, and it wasn't. But we figured it out, and I got a tech in, got my whole phone replaced. And as I was standing there inside the the store, I kept seeing this guy, and he looked, because everyone's wearing masks now. Sometimes it's hard to tell if you haven't seen a person in a while, if that's really the person or if it's not. And, I didn't want to be some weirdo and be like, hey, I know this person, but you don't know, right? Myself, I guess I'm kind of more of a distinct person, so a lot of people kind of recognize me. I stick out like a sore thumb, which is a good way. I'm very indigenized when I'm out and about. I'm always rocking something indigenous, my braided hair or whatever it be. People just know it's me for some reason. Even with the mask on, I've had people come up to me and say, "Oh, you're Peter Not So White, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it's pretty cool that people can recognize me with my mask on, I guess. But I didn't recognize it was him. I kept staring at him. And then after I'd got my phone fixed, he comes up to me and gives me a fist pump. And I was like, hey, after I knew that, I knew who it was. And I was sitting there thinking it wasn't him, because the last time I saw him was an old gym I used to go to. I don't even think that gym's around anymore, just because they were very corporate and they didn't have very good customer service, and they were kind of cutthroat, they were kind of a cutthroat business, and it's how corporations used to run. I honestly think they're very outdated. They're very backwards. They're all about profit, instead of people. Because people are the ones, if you have a reoccurring thing like a gym membership, your memberships are the ones that are going to keep bringing you business. But if you're very corporate-y and you're very, very pushy and all this stuff, and you're more about profit, you're not going to last long, because people don't want to come back to people that don't feel like they're being appreciated by, and that's another reason why anyone who reaches out to me on Instagram, I'll take the time out of my day to heart your stuff, like your stuff. Sometimes I reply back. I do that all out of my own free time, because I believe that they took the time out of their lives to support me. So I want to reciprocate that love and support you back, right? So I'm getting off a little track on this story. But anyways, yeah, the last time I saw him, he was a manager at this gym. So that's why I didn't really think it was him when I first saw him. And after he came up and fist pumped me, and I was like, hey, you're I said his name, and he's like, yep. And then we just started getting to chatting. And back in, it's been so long now, at the very beginning of COVID in 2020, when all the gyms originally shut down and the whole world shut down in the beginning, in March 2020, he got laid off. And that was the very first time he got to go on unemployment, because everyone was basically on unemployment at the time other than essential workers. And he took it as a vacation to go out back to where he was from, I guess, over to Toronto. It's I just heard a cool story about Toronto. The original name of it was it's spelled TK Rano, and that's a Mohawk word. So I don't know how to pronounce it properly, so I don't want to slash it. I don't want to do that. I just learned about that recently, so I thought that was cool. I thought that would say that. He was, pretty happy with life, actually, that he got to take some time off. Even though he loves fitness, he got to take some time off and just visit family and to go back home and to live life on unemployment for 6 months. And around that time, he was out in Toronto. Apple had a few job openings. So I guess he did a few interviews. I ended up getting hired on, and then full circle, there was a job opening actually back up over here on the west coast, on the unceded Coast Salish territories of the Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish people, also known as Vancouver, British Columbia. And he really loves it out here too. So he took the job opportunity to come out here, and you could just tell in his face that he was just loving life, that he allowed to live life in the moment. And you could just tell, that he was happy. Like, you could literally see it glowing off of him. Like, it was coming off him, it was beaming off of him, that energy of just happiness. You've ever seen someone and they're just in their flow at their job, doesn't matter what it is, and they're in their flow. And that's what he was. He was just in his flow, loving life. And with the recent closures here in British Columbia, he has some friends that are still in the fitness community, and there's a few people that we still know that are kind of in common. And he was telling them that they kind of need to maybe take this as a sign to open up new doors for new horizons. And he's like, he was even telling them, I love fitness so much, but it's just the last time it happened, I used that as an opportunity to open up a new door, right? Start a new chapter in his life. And that's what life is about. It's about accumulating experiences. It's not about collecting the most money in life. Money is an amazing thing. It is. It can do phenomenal things in this world. But at the end of the day, when you are on your deathbed, you're not going to sit there and wish that you had more money. You're going to wish that you had lived more experiences in life. And you actually understood that everything happens for the right reasons. And when we shift that little saying, because everything happens for a reason. That's a pretty common saying. But when you shift one little tiny thing about that whole saying, and you put everything happens for the right reasons, you start to not worry as much, and you start to trust the process, and you start to enjoy the journey of life, because life is a journey. And I've talked about that before. And everything happening for the right reasons is pretty phenomenal. And I look back on that exact moment, like me running into him at that time and having that conversation just sparked this idea, like just another reassurance that everything is happening for the right reason. Not even in your life, in everyone's life around you. And sometimes you may not be able to see it because you're in that eye of that storm. You're in that hard times. But after that storm ends and some time goes on, if you live by that saying, everything happens for the right reasons, you're going to look back and be like, yeah, man. Or yeah, that happened for the right reason. That happened so this could line up. Or that didn't happen so this would line up. We creator, Anika, that's who I believe in. You can believe in the universe, God, whoever, right? But to me, I feel like Anika is a cheeky fellow, right? I try not to attach a label of a male or female to creator. As you can see, as you can hear, I always I'm very, very mindful on pronouns that I put on things, on people, right? And I'm trying to decolonize that. So when I talk about creator, I try to not attach a pronoun, a he or them or Anika is just Anika. And you, whoever you believe in, if you believe that everything happens for the right reasons, you start to have faith in your creator. And when you start to have more faith in your creator, that life isn't so stressful. Life is actually pretty amazing. Life is precious, 1 out of 400 trillion chances of you being born. That says it in itself, man. I don't know if you can't comprehend that it took 1 out of 400 trillion chances for you to be here today, for you to listen to me talk. If that's not a big enough sign that everything happens for the right reasons, what's it gonna take? What is it gonna take? And there's, even in my past couple months, it's been pretty crazy on everything's happening for the right reasons. And I keep saying that to myself, and I keep reassuring that to myself. And things keep happening that just blow me away. Like me, running into him, and then I got my phone fixed, and then later on, I went with my gut feeling again, and I ended up getting I ended up upgrading my phone to an iPhone 13 Pro Max. And where I went to, I usually go to Costco to get my phones, just because they usually hook it up. Costco usually hooks it up, and they're union. So I like to support unions, as I'm a union iron worker, right? I like to support unions. That's how unions are. And my phone bill actually ended up being, I think it was like $25 less for a new upgraded phone, which was kind of cool. So all that realigned, that everything's happening for the right reasons. And I ended up going to that Costco. There's a couple Costco's around my place. And I was getting ready to go check out Costco and see what they're going to offer me. And I knew I should have gone with my gut feeling, but I just wanted to test the waters, right? Just to see if my gut was actually right. And I ended up going to another Costco, and just with the whole, COVID protocols going on, they ask you to QR code scan and sign up for that way to get in line. So I did it, and there's 24 people ahead of me. And I'm like, damn. So I signed up anyways, and the other Costco is not too far away. I think it's about a 10-minute drive. So I ended up driving to that one where my gut told me to go to in the first place. And guess what? There was one person ahead of me. I got up to the QR code, scanned in, one person ahead of me. And the guy that actually signed me up remembered me from before when I got my screen protector replaced. That's another reason why I like to go to Costco, because the glass shields they give you, they have lifetime warranty on them, so they've replaced them for free. And he kind of remembered me, so he ended up helping me out and getting me extra money off on my bill, which I was super grateful for. And that's just another reassurance that everything's happening for the right reasons. So wherever you're at in your life, if you can change the way you feel about things, I highly recommend you start telling yourself everything is happening for the right reasons. Everything is happening for the right reasons. Everything is happening for the right reasons. And when you start to feel that, you don't worry as much. You do worry from time to time because that's a habit, as I talked about before. But when you start to understand that, you worry less. You're in the moment. You're kind of flowing. You're in the flow, it's called. It's actually called the flow, through Taoism. It's called the flow, being in the moment, being in the present. You're here. There's other stories I could talk about too, which is pretty crazy on it, how everything happens for the right reasons. But I thought I would just share that story about running into this person. And think back on your life, on a moment where that happened. Everything happened for the right reason. And I guarantee you there's a few things you can think of on why, that happened for the right reason, or it didn't happen for the right reason. And when you see that, you can start seeing more, and then you start to activate your reticular activating system, your RAS. It's a part of NLP. I can't say it right now. I'm not going to sit here and stutter on my words right now. But NLP, our reticular activating system, is pretty powerful, and I'll explain it on a quick little note on how our RAS works. So say you buy a red Honda Civic. You go out and buy a brand new red Honda Civic. Now that your mind sees this red Honda Civic, you start to notice more red Honda Civics, and you start to notice more Honda Civics. It's pretty crazy how that works. And our mind has filters, because if we were to pay attention to everything that happened around us, we would go nuts. We would go insane, because there's just so much that happens to us on a daily basis. And especially with technology and social media, our minds have filters in them. So they filter out a lot of the things that we don't notice. We filter out a lot of things for our minds not to notice, so we don't go insane. So that's what your reticular activating system is. When you start to activate that to look for something like the phrase, everything happens for the right reasons, you start to look for the good in every situation. And what happens when you start to look for the good in every situation? More of that happens. More of the good things happen, because you're focusing your energy on that, and you're putting that out to the universe, which eventually comes back to you. So that's just a neat little fact that I learned about the reticular activating system through NLP. So thank you very much for tuning into my podcast. Thank you for the support. Like and subscribe to this. Share this with someone that you may think that it'll help them, because who knows? It may help someone that is struggling right now, because a lot of people are struggling right now. And whatever platform you're watching this on, give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Help me out, because little things like that will start to boost my algorithm, so I can start to reach more people. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe, or if you're on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, Spotify. I'm on a few other now. I'm on Podcast Addict. I just signed up for another podcast platform. Someone recommended that I signed up by sending through my email. So I wanted to provide them the best listening source that they listen to. That's why I'm on multiple platforms. And that's why I needed to upgrade my iPhone, because it takes a lot of time to upload it to YouTube. And I know some people like listening on YouTube. I usually listen to a lot of things on YouTube as well, because I got YouTube Premium, so I can just lock the screen and go about. I can download the video, and I know it helps those people that are creating the content that I'm consuming as well. And I do like a lot of their videos, because I understand that it helps support them. So help support me, and give me a like and subscribe, please. And Sukani, thank you for listening and tuning into this Wealthy Warrior Wednesday. You are a warrior yourself. On Winnegit, Dagas. And remember, everything happens for the right reasons. See you next week.